Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chapter 4, Lesson 3, World War I.
3 and 1 are the key numbers here.
Lesson 3, the First World War. The Great War.
They didn't know it was the first one at the time, so they didn't call it World War I.
That would be very pessimistic to call it World War I, because that just assumes, you know what, we're just going to do this again and again.
So why do they call it World War II? Same reason.
Yeah.
Figured
Well,
there's another one coming.
Yeah. They didn't call it World War I until long after the war was over. For this lesson, we want to give you some background on the war, but a lot of that is world history stuff that you're going to be learning later on in high school. We do need you to know, though, the European powers who are fighting in the war. And this World War, it's going to involve a lot of the world, but it's mostly the European powers. The places that they control around the world are all involved. We mentioned in the previous lessons, everyone's trying to build up this empire. America is doing it in a different way because Americans don't like empires. It sounds dark and menacing. Europe has no problem with that. Belgium, Germany, France, England, they have no problem taking over places and using their stuff.
By the way, Europe's over there, so we're sitting this way, yeah. So, in case you don't even know where Europe is...
Well, it depends on where they're holding the screen.
No, I think it's still over there. Well, if you're thinking we're in America...
If you're looking at this screen right now, and you're facing north, that way... Well, if you keep going either way...
Yeah, you're going to hit it eventually.
You're going to hit it eventually.
It's that place where England is.
Right. Where history is kept, where they keep the history.
Copy this right here.
So, what starts this would seem to be the death of this one guy, Franz Ferdinand. He's the heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary.
I just call him Franz Ferdinand.
France. So he's the guy whose death is going to trigger this stuff.
Wait, you said heir.
Heir?
They don't know what that is. He's the next guy in line to be
Heir.
the leader of
the heir to the throne.
Empire of Austria-Hungary.
Okay.
His uncle's
He's kind of a
in charge
big
at
deal.
this time.
Yeah, so Austria-Hungary, the heir to the throne, the guy who's going to inherit the throne, he gets shot. And then that triggers this chain reaction. All right, so money's getting big, everything's getting bigger. These new inventions, there's new machines of death, barbed wire, machines of death. You wouldn't think it's machines of death, but it's pretty useful for stopping cows and people.
Yeah.
We have machine guns, we have explosive artillery, tanks, planes, everything's getting deadlier. But the tactics they're using are still kind of old Napoleonic Civil War era. Charge!
Run everybody
tactics.
at him.
So they're still using old tactics, but they are up against new deadly machines.
Because they're idiots.
Because everyone is building up their military. We were doing it leading up to the Spanish-American War. Remember, big stick diplomacy. Everyone's investing in their navies, investing in their military. And that buildup means everyone sees that something's going to happen. Everyone can see that this buildup is going to eventually,
In history, if one country builds up, the other country has to build up to be safe. And then one of those countries builds up some more to be on top, which forces the other country, and you just keep getting all these countries.
Yeah, it's like if your neighbors started stockpiling weapons and they put up like barbed wire fences and putting landmines in their yard, and you say, all right, I got to get a rocket launcher in my garage and a machine gun turret in the roof of my house, and he puts up a tank in his front yard and another machine gun turret in his house, and all it takes is one person's dog to go and poop on someone's lawn. The dog blows up in a landmine, and that triggers the neighborhood to start shooting. Everyone kind of senses something's going to happen. The dog poops on the lawn. That's what triggers it, but that's not what caused it.
So basically, Franz Ferdinand is the dog.
He's the dog
pooping on the lawn.
He's the dog pooping on the lawn. Franz Ferdinand is. Now, I don't know if he's the dog or if he's the
poop.
I don't know.
He's one of them.
Right.
He blows up too.
Yeah. So everyone sees this coming. What they do is what happens on like Survivor. If you watch the first season of Survivor, which you never really should because it's a waste of time, but it wasn't part of their idea to have these tribes. Originally, the show was just everyone fights for themselves. Those secret alliances create this chain reaction where a Serbian kills an Austro-Hungarian, Franz Ferdinand. He's dead. So Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia, but Russia has a agreement with Serbia, so now they have to defend Serbia by declaring war on Austria-Hungary. But Germany has a secret treaty with Austria-Hungary, so they declare war on Russia. But France has a secret treaty with Russia, so now they have to declare war on Germany. And then Germany, when they invade France, they go through Belgium. But England has a secret treaty with Belgium, so now they have to declare war on Germany. And eventually, all these countries get pulled into a war.
And they're pulling other countries that belong to them too.
Right.
Like,
so like
Great Britain's pulling India and Australia.
And you're like, why am I going to go die in Turkey for some guy from Austro-Hungarian Empire?
But I got to.
Yeah, but it's just the thing. Why is someone from Australia going to fight in Austria? That's very confusing. So it's not
why do we put jelly on peanut butter? I mean, stuff happens.
Right. This is not a war being fought for a noble purpose. It's not being fought for freedom. Everyone's also using advertising. So we learned about advertising in chapter 3 or chapter 2, where everyone is like figuring out how do we sell ideas, how do we sell consumer goods. Well, now they're learning how do we sell a war that's a piece of garbage. This war is not for a good purpose, but how do we convince everybody that it is? And so they develop these pretty good advertising campaigns to make everybody fight this war.
And what's that called?
Propaganda.
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 Sounds delicious, but it's not. Propaganda persuades people to fight the war, but normally what stops a war is you run out of people or you run out of money. But there's these huge population booms created by people moving to urban areas. You have a higher standard of living, so people can live longer and have more population. So populations are growing in cities, and money. They have access to more money because of the banking industry getting bigger and more powerful. So these wars can almost go on forever, and that's the problem. Is World War I is going to seem to go on forever. Everyone thinks,
and countries are even willing to go in debt.
Yeah,
it's not just
you can borrow. That's what financial resources are. It's money you can borrow to use. So you can borrow money, keep using it, and the war goes on forever. So, what do we need you to know from all this? Eventually, this will trigger the U.S. being involved in it, but the sides who are involved in this war, on the Allied power side, that's the side that we're going to eventually join. We have Great Britain, France, Belgium, Serbia,
Russia,
and on the other side of Europe, Russia. So Russia is involved in this war. They are the Allied powers. They are fighting against the Central powers, right in the center.
So Russia on one side, these other ones on the other side, and these are the guys in between.
Okay. And then in the center, you have Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, which is now known as Turkey, but the Ottoman Empire / Turkey.
There's a video World War I game, which some of you out there, I don't know who you are, have been playing. I play it with my son, and they teach you all kinds of stuff about this. Some of it's fake and isn't really true, but the countries and all that kind of stuff you learn about.
Yeah, like Mario. Mario was never in World War I. That part's fake.
No, it wasn't until the Italians came in later.
Yeah, the Mushroom Kingdom, they were not involved in this. Nope. Okay. So
is that it?
I think
no,
that's it.
There's